Baby Fozzie is afraid of the dark. It was the middle of the night in the nursery. The room was dark, and all the Muppet babies were in their cribs, fast asleep. All, that is, except one. Baby Fozzie was sitting straight up, and his eyes were wide open. His little shoulders were shaking. He felt cold, then hot, then cold again. Poor baby Fozzie was afraid of the dark. What made it worse was there was no one to talk to. Fozzie felt like he was the only one in the whole wide world who was awake. He wished baby Kermit would wake up. Kermit was so brave. He wasn't afraid of the dark. "Kermit," Fozzie whispered, "please wake up." But Kermit went right on sleeping. "Kermit," Fozzie begged a little louder. But Kermit just lay there. "Kermit!" Fozzie yelled. Kermit's eyes popped open. "Huh? What?" "Gee, Kermit," Fozzie said, trying to sound surprised. "Did I wake you up?" "Yes, you did," Kermit grumbled. "And I was having a dream. Why aren't you sleeping?" Fozzie was ashamed to tell Kermit that he was afraid of the dark, so he answered, I was too cold." "Then get under your blanket," Kermit said. Maybe I had too much to eat," Fozzie said. "You always have too much to eat." Maybe I'm just a little bit afraid of the dark." "That's silly," mumbled Kermit sleepily. "Now go to sleep so I can go back to my dream." "What are you dreaming about, Kermit?" asked Fozzie. He didn't want Kermit to fall asleep again. Kermit yawned and closed his eyes. "I'm on a flying boat. It's about to go sailing through the night." "Through the night? In the dark?" Fozzie exclaimed. "Aren't you scared?" "There's nothing to be scared of," Kermit replied. "It's fun." "What does the boat look like?" asked Fozzie, trying to keep Kermit up longer. "Sort of like this crib, only it's all silver and gold." "Where's the boat going, Kermit?" "It's sailing out the window." "Don't leave me here. Can't I come with you, Kermit?" "Sure, Fozzie. We're on our way." Outside the nursery, the boat sailed slowly down the street and across town. "Hey, Kermit, what's that man doing down there in the dark?" "He's a night watchman," Kermit said. "He guards that factory after dark." The boat rose higher and circled over the sky. Fozzie shivered. "Kermit, it's so dark up here." "It's not dark down there," Kermit pointed. "Look." Fozzie, Fozzie looked down. There were lights shining all over the city. "Why do all those buildings have their lights on?" Fozzie asked. "I thought everyone was asleep at night." "Oh no," Kermit said. "That's a police station, and there's a fire station, and over there is a hospital. There are people in those buildings who work all night." The boat floated on, past the city and over a forest. Fozzie shivered again. "Kermit, it's so lonely and empty down there." "No, it isn't," Kermit said. "Look." A yellow-eyed owl perched on a tree, while a small brown bat flew through the branches. "Why aren't they sleeping?" Fozzie asked. Lots of animals stay up at night, Kermit explained. That's when they hunt for food. I'm glad I'm not an owl or a bat, Fozzie said. I still don't like the night. It's not as special as daytime. Kermit just smiled and said, Look up. Fozzie looked up. Above them, thousands of stars were twinkling in the clear dark sky. Gee, Kermit, sighed Fozzie, that's really beautiful. And if there wasn't any darkness, said Kermit, we wouldn't be able to see those stars. But Fozzie was still worried. Where did the sun go when the dark came? And what if the sun never came back? Their boat rose higher and higher. It began moving faster and faster. Soon the earth looked like a large ball beneath them. Hey Kermit, Fozzie yelled. Look, it's getting lighter over there. We're on the other side of the world now, Kermit said. When it's dark over the nursery, it's light over here. When we have nighttime, the people here have daytime. Fozzie peered down over the boat. He saw streets, parks, buildings, beaches, and lots of people in the bright sunlight. Kermit turned the boat around, and they sailed back into the dark. Before long, they were at the forest where the owls and the bats were wide awake. They sailed over the police station, the fire station, and the hospital, where people worked all night. Finally, they floated back through the nursery window. That was a good trip, Kermit, Fozzie said. I guess the dark isn't so scary after all. I thought I was alone, but there are people working and animals hunting for food. And on the other side of the world, the children are outside playing. Kermit didn't answer. He was fast asleep, dreaming. And finally, so was baby Fozzie. Oh bother, someone's afraid of the dark. The sun was setting on Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, headed home after a day of exploring in the 100-acre wood. Piglet, it was a wonderful day, said Pooh. Of course, every day is wonderful if you have a jar full of honey. Pooh peered into the jar he was carrying. Oh bother, he said. My full jar of honey is almost empty. Look, Piglet said. Tigger and Owl are pitching a tent under the trees. Hi, Pooh and Piglet, Tigger shouted to them. I've talked Owl into camping out tonight. That sounds like fun, doesn't it, Piglet? Said Pooh, as he stopped to wave to their friends. No, it doesn't, Piglet answered quickly, and he went right on walking. Pooh caught up with Piglet. Soon they reached a fork in the path. It was time to say goodnight, but Piglet didn't want Pooh to leave. Walk home with me, Piglet begged Pooh. You can sleep over. We'll camp inside tonight, please. Pooh had never heard of camping inside before. I have a full jar of honey at home, offered Piglet. Sounds like a good idea, said Pooh, patting his tummy. Let's go. As they arrived at Piglet's house, Pooh stopped and pointed up the sky. Look, Piglet, there's the first star, said Pooh. Let's go inside, quick, said Piglet, whose only thought was that the night was getting dark very fast. But I have to make a wish, Pooh protested as Piglet pulled him in the door. When they were inside the house, Pooh was surprised to see Piglet push a large table in front of the door. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Can't be too careful," Piglet answered. "Oh," said Pooh. He wasn't sure what Piglet meant, but he didn't ask any more questions. He was too busy wondering about Piglet's jar of honey. Pooh and Piglet settled down for a pleasant evening at home. First, Piglet worked on a jigsaw puzzle and Pooh ate honey. The puzzle reminded Piglet of something, so he told the story about 3 little piglets and Pooh ate the honey. Then Pooh told about the huge honeybee that he had followed the previous spring. "I knew there would be gallops of honey waiting just for me, because the bee was this big," said Pooh, holding up his paws. Then, sadly, the bee just disappeared. After Piglet told Pooh how much he enjoyed the honeybee story, the 2 friends sang songs. Before Pooh knew it, the honey was all gone and he was feeling very tired. "I think I'd like to go to sleep now, Piglet," he said. However, Piglet still didn't want to go to bed. He suggested that they finish the evening with a game of acorns checkers. Pooh tried to play, but he just couldn't stay awake any longer. "All right, Pooh," Piglet said with a sigh. "I guess it's time to go to bed." Before they went to bed, Pooh and Piglet brushed their teeth. Standing at the wash basin, Piglet suddenly saw a horrible sight. It was the shadow of a huge creature with a gigantic stick in his hand. "Pooh," whispered Piglet, trembling. "There's a heffalump. I mean, leffahump. Oh dear. Well, something awful is about to get us." Pooh looked around and saw the shadow on the wall. He waved his toothbrush at it. "Look, it's waving back at me," said Pooh. "Why, it is me. Actually, it's my shadow." "Oh," said Piglet, "I guess you're right." At last, Pooh and Piglet were ready to go to sleep. "I think I'll just check under the bed for heffalumps," said Piglet. "Do you see any?" Pooh asked. "No," Piglet admitted, "but that doesn't mean they're not there." Piglet climbed into the bed at last. Pooh yawned and switched off the lamp. "You can't turn off the lamp," said Piglet, turning it back on again. "We need it on to keep the heffalumps away." "But Piglet, you blocked the door. A heffalump can't get in," Pooh reminded his friend, and he gave Piglet a reassuring pat. "I hope you're right," said Piglet, uncertainly, as he switched off the lamp. Pooh fell asleep immediately, but Piglet stayed wide awake. "Pooh," he whispered, "I hear something." Pooh didn't answer. "Pooh," whispered Piglet a little louder this time. "It's definitely a heffalump something." Pooh still did not answer, so Piglet gave Pooh a push and said, "There's a heffalump right in this room. Don't you hear him going tick-tock, tick-tock?" "Huh?" said Pooh, awake at last. "Oh yes, I do. Don't worry, Piglet. I'll get him." Pooh grabbed his pillow, stood up, and pounced on the heffalump. "Got you," he shouted. Then Pooh switched on the lamp, and lifted up the pillow. What do you know? Pooh said. A heffalump looks just like an alarm clock. Oh, it's an alarm clock, said Piglet, very relieved. Pooh thought for a moment. Piglet, he said, if I didn't know better, I'd think you are afraid of the dark. Well, there are scary things in the dark, Piglet replied, like heffalumps and jaguars. But Piglet, we haven't actually seen a heffalump, have we? Said Pooh. We thought we saw one, but it was really your shadow, Piglet admitted. Then we thought we heard one, but it was really the clock. Piglet continued, I guess heffalumps are just in my imagination. I guess that's true, said Pooh, so there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Piglet didn't want to answer it, but Pooh said he would go and ask who was there. Piglet decided it would be safer if he followed Pooh. Who is it? Asked Pooh at the front door. From outside a voice answered, It's Tigger and Owl, Pooh. Suddenly Piglet hid under the table and began shaking with fear. Tigger and a howling boo, he whispered. That's worse than a heffalump. Pooh was puzzled. That didn't sound like a howling boo, he said it out loud. It sounded like someone we know. Think, think, think. You're right, said Piglet. I've heard that voice before. It sounded like Owl, said Pooh. He was saying, It's Tigger and Owl Pooh. If it's only Tigger and Owl, there's nothing to be afraid of, said Piglet, greatly relieved. Once more. Pooh helped Piglet push the table away. When they opened the door, Owl and Tigger were standing outside in the light of the firefly lantern. Come on out, said Tigger, bouncing excitedly. There's something you've got to see. Isn't it awfully dark out there? Asked Piglet, who was still a little bit nervous. But wait until you see the lights in the sky, said Owl. When Piglet and Pooh stepped outside, they saw that the sky was filled with glittering stars. Those star pictures in the sky are constellations, said Owl, looking up at the sky. There's the big bear, and over there's the little bear. Oh yes, said Pooh. And I think I see a big honey jar and a little honey jar. Show him that Tigger-centric picture, said Tigger, bouncing impatiently. Piglet, said Owl, pointing a wing upward. We think that constellations right up there look like you. Why, it does look like me, cried Piglet, staring at the night sky and forgetting all about being afraid. The four friends watched the starry sky for a long time. Pooh put his arm around Piglet. No need to be afraid of the dark any more, he said. Now that you know you have a friendly Piglet looking down on you. You're right, said Piglet. And that Piglet doesn't look scared of the dark at all. Scared of the dark. One Saturday, Ernie and Bert went to the movies. They caught the matinee at the Bijou. The feature was Ghosties. It was twilight when Ernie and Bert started walking home. Ernie, Wasn't it scary when the ghosties invaded the bedroom and grabbed the boy and flew him out into the night, said Bert. Yikes! Yes, said Ernie. But he wasn't really listening. He thought he saw something crouching behind a street lamp, but it was just a garbage can. Ernie shivered and began to walk faster. Or what about that part, Ern, said Bert, when the boy opened the refrigerator and instead of his bologna sandwich, he found snarling ghosties. Cool, huh? Yeah, sure, Bert, said Ernie, peering into the basketball court as they passed it. The shadows looked dark and deep. Anything could be hiding in those shadows, thought Ernie. Later that night, after supper, even with a cup of cocoa with marshmallows, Ernie didn't feel like going to sleep. I think I'll stay up a little longer, Bert, said Ernie. Maybe I'll work on my model airplane, or look at a book, or watch TV, or something. Ernie, don't be ridiculous, said Bert. It's bedtime. Now get into your pajamas and brush your teeth and go to bed. Soon Bert was snoring, but Ernie couldn't sleep. His eyes were wide open. In the dark he watched the headlights of a passing car flash across the wall. Then Ernie saw something behind the door. His body tensed. His eyes grew wider. Ernie's mind raced. It's a monster, he thought, with a huge head and long tangly hair, and one long gigantic arm, and it's going to grab me. Oh no! Ernie gulped, but very quietly, so that the monster wouldn't hear. Ernie tried not to breathe or even blink his eyes, so that he wouldn't make the monster mad. Ernie hugged Rubber Ducky tight and tried counting sheep, but he still couldn't sleep. Then Ernie heard a low hiss. He didn't rustle the blankets or move or make any noise at all. Boy, thought Ernie, Bert is lucky that I'm still awake and have such sharp hearing. Something fishy is going on here. Ernie noticed that the closet door was open a crack. I knew it, thought Ernie. Something bad is in there and it's going to get out and... Eee! Screamed Ernie. He bounced right onto Bert's bed. Bert, there's something in the closet and it's going to slime out all over us. Oh, Ernie, said Bert, there's nothing in the closet. See? Bert walked up to the closet and opened the door. There was nothing in there but shoes, clothes, and junk. But what was that hiss? Said Ernie. Listen. Yes, Ernie, said Bert, I hear it. That hiss is the radiator. I guess you're right, old buddy, said Ernie. Bert rummaged around in the closet. This might help, said Bert. A night light. Then the room won't be so dark. The soft glow of the nightlight made Ernie feel cozy. But then he thought he felt something move under the bed. Ernie stretched himself out. Now whatever is under here won't see any bulges and won't attack, he thought. There could be a big snake with fangs slithering under there, thought Ernie. Or maybe a shark swimming around looking for something to eat. What am I thinking? There's nothing scary under this bed. A shark would need water, and snakes don't live on Sesame Street. Ernie took a deep breath, leaned over, and looked under the bed. Okay, Ernie said to himself. Now just take it easy and try to get some sleep. The harder Ernie tried to go to sleep, the harder it was to get to sleep. Ernie listened to the wind outside whooshing through the trees. He watched shadows dancing across the wall. The shadows reminded him of something. They're coming, thought Ernie. They're waiting in the trees. They're going to fly in the window and grab Bert and fly him into the night. And then they'll snatch me. Here come the ghosties, screamed Ernie. Ernie's scream was so loud that it knocked Bert right out of bed. Oh, Ernie, groaned Bert. Bert, you woke up just in time, said Ernie. The ghosties are invading Sesame Street. Ernie, all I see on that wall is shadows, said Bert. The tree outside our window is tossing it in the wind. See? It throws the light from the street lamp all crazy against the wall and makes wild shadows. Look, if I close the curtain all the way, no more ghosties. Ernie, said Bert, your imagination is acting up tonight. It must be that scary movie we saw. I guess so, old buddy, said Ernie. Why don't you imagine nice things instead of scary things, said Bert. Like what, Bert? Asked Ernie. Imagine it's summer and you're at the beach, said Bert. You're floating over gentle waves on your inflatable seahorse. Just relax, Ernie. Ernie forgot about the ghosties. Imagining nice things, he drifted off into a sweet sleep. The next morning, Ernie whistled as he fixed his favorite breakfast, Monsterberry Crunch with milk and bananas. Bert dragged into the kitchen. Hey there, old pal, said Ernie. How are you feeling this wonderful morning? I'm very tired, Ernie. I didn't sleep a wink. Thank you very much.